All right. So we are live. Hey, welcome back. Anybody out there who catches this video, whether you do it live, or you catch it on the replay, I do appreciate you for clicking on this video. Today, right now, I got my brother Antoine with us. We're going to get into a few things. It is a political discussion, but it's not, at least I hope for it not to be solely a political discussion from like a grievance or assessment standpoint. Like we'll have a little bit of that in there, of course, but really focusing on moving the ball forward, right? Like as an individual, like how do you participate in this thing? And and on what ground do you stand? What are you after? That type of thing, as opposed to Democrats bad. We know the parties suck, but we can talk about it and stuff like that. But hey, Mr. Antoine, what you got on your mind? What you want to lead off with, man?
No, I was watching we were talking about a little bit, about the trials and things like that, the testimonies and stuff like that, the Epstein files, all these things like that are going on.
The how they're all thing.
Clintons being depositioned, and just all the wild stuff that's going on right now. And then this, like you said, this new normal that we are facing right now, right? And there's still no outrage. There's not enough outrage for me. We're still playing politics, party politics and stuff like that, and it shouldn't even be that. But back on this, but when it comes to, it's like a 1,000-strand web, and everything has so many common touching points, but it all goes back to the top 1%, right, of our society. The billionaires, the billionaire class, stuff like that. It always goes back to them as being some manipulator or adjudicator of whatever we're facing in our lifetimes. So it's just crazy.
I'm sorry, big bro. I had to yell at one of my kids.
Oh no, I got
you. But yeah, man. So I missed the latter part of what you were saying. Would you mind?
No. Just that I was saying that there's so many touch points with what we as common people are facing, and what we're dealing with, and we're having to overcome and having to worry about. While the billionaire class is mostly the manipulators and prognosticators of what we're going through, right? And every segment of our population, where you're talking about healthcare, where you're talking about our economy, where you're talking about our defense, where you're talking about our safety, whether you're talking about shit, even our recreational things, where we like in sports and stuff like that. All those things are being affected by the billionaire class, and we are having to absorb all the BS that we're having to deal with. And it's just like, sometimes it's overwhelming. You feel almost like, honestly, you feel like you're like an ant underneath a big ass thumb that just keeps pressing down on you. And you're trying to get away to get a little space, and it just 2-3 more hands just press down in another area. When you think you get to another little space, you think you're better. You're not. It's always their manipulation. That.
Yeah, I can dig it. I like that you said it's like being like an ant or whatnot. Because you know me, I'm full of analogies and metaphors, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, I'm not feeling all that overwhelmed. And the reason that I'm not is I credit it to my perspective on it, and I'm not saying that my perspective is right. I'm gonna put that out there. But the billionaire class, the Epstein class, the real titans of capital and industry, most of them are either generational wealth or extreme wealth, right? Like they created some doodad or some concept and they were able to capitalize on it, and then they kept flipping and flipping until they were able to, be these monsters that we like to talk about. So I'll put them in like eagle class, right? And when I'm naming different creatures in this analogy, it's not to say that one is better than the other, because to me, depending upon the creature, they might be the master in their own domain. Okay, because like if you're an eagle, what is an ant to you? Nothing, right? Unless you land or you go to sleep in the wrong place, and now you're subject to the will of the ants, right? So yeah, I think as common people, as regular people just trying to make it through, we are like ants. But we are not behaving like ants. We're not trying to be the maximal position of an ant that we can be. We're so busy focusing on these big abstract entities. Like when we say billionaires, like who are we talking about? Like are we talking about Zuckerbergs and Musks? Are we talking about that Pritzker guy out in Illinois? We talking about the billionaires that we never hear their name. We never hear from them. They just busy doing their own thing. Like who are we talking about? So is it really that we have a problem with billionaires, or is it truly that we have a problem with extreme wealth? Right. And I think that we've gotten into a position where we moralize wealth. Well, no, I know for a fact America moralizes wealth. We've completely flipped. If you're a Christian type of person, we flipped the principle on its head. Now if you're wealthy, it's because God decided that you were worthy of being blessed above others,
or that you're very blessed.
Right. The quantity of stuff is a reflection of the quality of blessing,
and that goes hand in hand with our prosperity gospel.
Yeah, it's older than that, but yeah, you're exactly right. Because you think about monarchs back in the day, and it's not just European culture, you name it, just go across the board. What do dictators, kings, queens, what do they all claim? They all claim some kind of divine right. Right? Like they just somehow they're the ones. Why? Because they got the stuff. I got all the stuff. So God must favor me. Even though according to the text, that's the inverse of how that works, because you're just getting your earthly reward and whatever. I'm not here to preach. So I think we have a heavy dose of that. And that to me feeds into what you were touching on with the Epstein thing, right? So I follow it because it's in our face, but I don't really follow it too tight because to me it's just a spectacle. The masses, the people, they don't honestly care. They really don't. They don't care about these girls. These girls are grown, so they don't care. They care about using it as a weapon towards these elites, but they don't actually care about the true victims. And the proof of that is, where's the energy trying to push the FBI to crack more of these cases that are happening all around us right now?
Or indict them, yeah.
Right? You're so busy worrying about the Epstein list. What about name your seedy motel?
I mean, I'm in Sandy Springs, so that recently there has been an effort to crack down on all these massage places or whatever. But let me tell you what I do. If you can go to city, every major metropolitan area, there are so many rape kits that are unworked, that are just in vaults and in lockups and stuff like that never get worked. You know what I'm saying? So if we're really being serious, we're not a serious country when it comes to the rights of women, when it comes to being raped or molested or anything like that. We're not a very serious country at all. We say we are because we want to be the
In America, sex crimes are not true crimes.
No, now they're committed by white men. They're not.
No, period.
Well, I'm
There
just saying.
are rapes
It
and
depends.
not that word, but no. Hear what I'm saying? Like, yes, different communities will get harsher focus and treatment, but that's only for when they bother to look at it,
Right.
right? How many of young black girls and young Latina girls
Go
and
missing.
indigenous, they just go missing
Right.
every year. And is there a lot of outcry from our communities? The indigenous community tries to make a lot of noise about it, but nobody's listening to them. But I'm in our community. It's not a cohesive energy. All right, there are pockets that focus on it, but it's not a cohesive energy, right?
No.
If we truly cared about our kids the way that we want to fixate on what's happening with these well, they're adults now, but they were children when this was happening, then we would be up in arms about, hey, we need to make sure that our social services are better funded. And if
We
the
don't care about
government
that.
won't fund it, then we'll fund it, right?
There's no care about that because I just had a conversation with a whole bunch of adults about the kids that were going crazy over at Cumberland Mall this past week. They were meeting up and stuff like that. I said, well, look, they started in Atlantic Station. They started in they're now migrating up to the Battery. It's because these kids have nothing to do, and a lot of people in the country say, "Oh, it's the parents' fault. It's the parents' fault." I said, "You're trying to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound because it's not just the parents' fault. The parents are trying to make a living. Are there opportunities for the kids to have structured environments for them to be in? Oh, everybody else has the same opportunities. It shouldn't be, other kids. It's only your demographics." I was like, my demographics, okay.
People can choose. That's
Right.
why this argument is so hard. People just choose and deflect, because what's the natural response to that, right? Because you see it if you go into the comment sections and stuff like that. It's so easy to go into a race baiting
Oh yeah, of
situation,
course.
Usual suspects or whatever. But then you'll turn around and it'd be like a school shooting, and what happens? All the black people are talking about Betty White. So it's like people are not truly wanting to deal with the thing. They want to keep score, right? They want to show that for whatever ills you may see on my team, your team got them too, as opposed to young people throughout history.
Right.
If they don't have something constructive to do, if they don't have someone providing them with oversight and actually caring about them, then they do things that entertain them. And then when they go to do the things that entertain them, a lot of times it's going to be destructive or self-destructive. And then us as adults, because we don't want to own it, we turn around and say, look at these bad little, black kids, or look at these little bad Latino kids. Nah, these are kids, man. And they don't pay no taxes. They don't have any control of anything.
That's why I said we're not serious. We're not a serious country when it comes to that.
No, we're not. We're not serious. We don't invest in our children.
We don't invest in education. We don't invest in anything like that.
Yeah, we don't see our children as our children. We see our own children, but we don't see us being connected or intertwined in any way. So what happens, in my view, is you had the breakdown of a national identity. You had the breakdown of local communities. You had a breakdown of the family structure. You got a breakdown of the nuclear family. So now you're stuck with individuals raising individuals trying to figure it out. And you're never going to get anywhere that way. So we got to, in my view, we know the trajectory that brought us down here. So that also means we know the steps to reverse, right? So we got to get from individuals to back to the family, right? You got to go from the family to the community, from the community to the nation.
Right. Man, I know. We're kind of got off topic a little bit because I know we're supposed to be having a discussion about healthcare.
Oh, dude, I forgot. I got to change the banner, man. That's not the right thing. It
Okay.
ain't healthcare. It ain't healthcare. I don't know how to use this thing, man. But hey, Tracy, how are you today?
Take that Seahawk crap off.
Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute.
No, we will fight right here, right now. Don't you? No.
You can't argue with facts. Don't get out here with your
They
feelings.
got lucky. They beat the team.
You don't
Yes,
get
they
lucky
beat
going
us.
15-1.
They beat us. I'm not gonna take that. They beat
Who was us? Who was us?
49ers all day,
Hey, y'all
every day.
got
364.
mollywopped and spanked. What are y'all talking about? Y'all
They
beat y'all back to
Our
back.
team was in the ICU.
Don't
For half
matter.
the team.
We
Nope.
came back. We beat y'all the first time y'all
Our
was fully
team
done. We
was
came back and
in
beat y'all ass
the
again.
emergency room department. No, I will not. I will not ever
Y'all
give
can make
those.
excuse for it. Y'all want to make excuse for it. Y'all still got that ass
We'll be back.
spanked, belt
Just
to
take
ass all day.
It'll be another 15 years before y'all win another one.
How long has it been since y'all got there?
We got there though.
We done been there twice. We done been there twice since y'all been there the one time. Y'all ain't coming back.
Twice.
Y'all ain't did nothing. Y'all just like the Falcons. Y'all get there, y'all don't do nothing. Y'all shit the bed.
How the Falcons catching strays, man? They ain't in no Super Bowls. They
had the same coach. They had the same coach. And they gonna still keep it.
Speaking of the Falcons, we just got Raheem Morris as our defensive coordinator.
Still catching the same strays.
All right, so let's actually go towards what I hope for us to talk about today. All right, so we talked about a little bit of return.
Where's Marlon? I said, where's Marlon?
He said he's gonna be late.
Oh, always late. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, he said he's gonna be late. So what I want to get into is like, as I'm real big on the individual, but I'm big on the individual always keeping in mind that you're part of a collective, right? And I want to try to kind of go at this voting thing from the perspective of an individual, right? Because at the end of the day, each of us has to make a decision in how we're going to move. So
right.
there's party politics, right? There's issues voters. There's people who are kind of like disenfranchised and checked out, and a host of other things. So if you're trying to look at this 2026 election, that we're already in the primary season, we're heading towards the general. Like, what would you tell a person as to like why they should vote, how they should vote, or whatever? Like, you pick your stream and run at it. What do you want? What do you say?
Ladies first.
Oh, you would have to do that one. See, this is because I was just talking to Theus about this a couple weeks ago. I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm a third party voter. I will absolutely positively not, and we're just talking about the primaries. I know what I'm gonna do in the general. I already know I'm gonna go there and just write in everybody from top to bottom. That's what I'm gonna do. That's my plan. But it's those primaries where I'm struggling at because I don't support the Democrats. I think I've made that really, really clear. I don't support them. I don't like them. They make me sick. They underperform. They're cowards. There's just nothing that a Democrat is going to say to me. However, me just sitting out is something I've never did. I have never missed an election since I was 18.
So
And I've been telling people, hey, you need to vote, you need to get engaged. This is the bare minimum you do. And if I do sit it out, that means I've become a hypocrite. So I just don't know what to do. And that's really, I'm still struggling with that.
So when you look at voting, and the value of your vote, What does that mean to you? Like, how do you view that?
I'm hoping I understand your question because that's kind of an open-ended type of question.
It is
So,
kind of vague. Sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say if you could be just a little bit more specific,
So
that would help me a lot.
So do you look at, and it might not be any of the things I name, okay? So it might be something different. But do you view your vote as your civic responsibility? Do you view your vote as your voice? Do you view your vote as an instrument of change? Like, because to me, those are pretty much the three main things that your vote is.
I think I view them as all three. I do view that's my voice. That's me saying, you know what, other person, I don't really like you like that, so I'm gonna vote for this person who I fully support. It's also my right. It's also something that my ancestors fought to make sure that I have. It's how I say, hey, I'm really dissatisfied, so I'm gonna make a change. So I think it's all three. I don't know one of those I rank ahead of the other, but I think it's all three for me.
What about you, Antoine? You got thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good point because I was thinking the same thing. I'm with Tracy Adams. So really, I consider myself more of an independent, but I also have to think of how we have to move. You know what I'm saying? I can't move. I can't be to if I were to not vote or to sit out. That's what they want anyway. The less that are involved in because the less that are involved in the process makes it even better for Republicans to get a so-called another mandate, so they say, to do what they're doing right now. So even because at the end of the day, they don't count the number of people that set out. They count the number of people that were in, right?
Yeah.
So it
So
doesn't matter. So if even if there's only 72 million people that voted, right, or 142 million people that voted total, right, and then even though maybe 150 million people sat out, it doesn't matter what the 150 million people thought or what they wanted. They're gonna get what the 72 desired. So, knowing that, I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote to the side that I feel like I can most control. The most
okay.
I can, and I don't think, and by no means am I naive to think that Democrats even have my my best needs at heart, because I don't think they do. I just think they're power manipulating power in a different way than Republicans are. Um, so I'm good, but can I? Will I have a better opportunity to set the table and have a conversation with Democrat than I would a Republican? Most definitely. So I'm probably gonna capitulate to that side because of that. But like Trace said, I believe it's all three. It's not the time to be a maverick voter. It's not that time. It's not if the more people if everybody's gonna come individually, we have to come and be such a force. It's like this is like a heavy ass desk. If everybody sits on the sideline and just watches two little weak ass people try to move this desk, and we got a whole squad of other people trying to push the desk the other way, we need to get y'all asses up off the goddamn sideline and get in this and push this desk through the fucking wall, right? You need to push it through them, through the wall, push them outside, push them out the country. We need everybody on pushing this desk. We don't need them just pushing. We don't need just let's just it's not my desk. It's not what I want on the desk. It's not no. Push this bitch through the wall, and then we'll decide if we break this house down, we'll tear it up. We'll see what we make after that. But you can't just sit on the sideline, just look and let other people do the work.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of speak for, even though this isn't my position, right? I am going to try to speak from the point of view of a non-voter. Hey, Tracy, go ahead.
I need to be taken down for a second.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
From the standpoint of like a non-voter, because here's before I go into that character, here's part of my personal frustration is a lot of these things are so symbolic. You don't have, if you don't have a plan, what are you doing? It's like you're posturing, right? And what it kind of ends up boiling down to me when I kind of look at different people is like they want to be a part of the winning team. Okay. So which team might win? And that dictates where I'll vote. So if I think the Democrats can win, then I'm going to vote that way because then I voted for the right team.
Mhm.
And conversely, the other side does the same thing. There's no value in that. You're really just a fan in the stands, right? Um, you don't have any demands, you don't have any expectations, you just don't want to lose. And the only way that you lose is because you chose a team. you know? Um, okay. The only reason you lose is because you chose a team, right? So it's like I see that angle, and then there's like to me the empty posturing of and I don't mean this to be like offensive or anything. I want this to be a wide open conversation. But like I don't like the Democrats, I don't like the Republicans. So I'm just gonna throw another name out there. Okay, so Tracy, you presented that particular argument. What do you stand to gain from that? Who will see that that's what you did? Who will pay attention that that's what you did? And what do you think you'll get from it?
Okay, so those are all really good questions. And here's what I will say. What I get from it, well, let me backtrack. So there's a certain standard that I have when I'm voting for a candidate. Number one standard, you can't take corporate PAC money. I don't care if you're running for trash collector. I don't care if you're running for, I don't care what, if you take corporate PAC money, forget about me voting for you. As long as both the Democrats and the Republicans do that, I'm not going to vote for them. I don't think I would ever vote Republican. But to answer your question, I think what I get out of it is I'm saying, you know what? I don't got to deal with these two clowns. It's a third option. And if enough people would stop to me being scared to vote for that third option, we would be a lot better off than what we are right now because we would have that outside voice. But I think a lot of people are scared because, well, they can't win. Well, they can't win if you don't vote for them. They can't win
Yeah.
if you don't
But
collect
I think,
petitions.
but I think we cannibalize. We cannibalize every other candidate we have, though. We cannibalize. Like, there's just like this. We're looking for a mythical fucking unicorn to vote for, and they don't
And
exist.
I'm guilty of that. I'm very
That
guilty of that.
they don't exist. You got he's got to do this and this and this to have this and this and that and then this and this and never done this. It got to be a virgin on Sunday. No, you don't have. That doesn't exist.
So where
I
does
think how
We
where
far
does
cannibalize.
harm
We cannibalize our candidates before they even come up.
that's true, but where does harm reduction factor into either of your positions?
I don't think
Harm
harm
reduction
reduction.
in our societies in our
Right?
In
communities. Are
your
we talking
vote,
about?
when you're thinking about how you're going to vote, does harm reduction factor in, or is it all more or less like your what's the word, principles?
It's
Like,
more so for me. If I could work with them, if they're reasonable enough or amicable enough that we can possibly come to the table and work something out. It's probably not going to be something that would benefit me 100%. But if I can get them to the table just enough so that I can move my agenda or move my community forward a little bit. That's what
but
it
you're an
pretty much is.
individual. You're an
No,
individual. You're not an
but I
elected
represent a
official.
community though. I represent a community.
Yeah.
This skin is what I am, so I can't change that. When you see this is what it is.
Okay,
So
that's a different discussion, and I would love to go into that because the
I'm
skin
gonna
is your
do. I'm not
uniform.
even if
Just
I'm
because you're not a
even if I
vehicle.
might be making it. I know there's a bunch of us that are not. So I'm gonna try to do what's best because I know that if my community is doing better, then all communities will do better. You know what I'm saying from the
I agree
ground
with
up.
that. Yeah.
So if I'm giving you suggestions or I'm telling you what would benefit my community, what has to change is the narrative that we can't do things for Black people because then it's only for them. It has to be. You have to understand, and we have to educate. I'm not saying that we personally, but there has to be a sensitivity to the country to understand that if Black people are relatively healthy, the country will relatively be healthy. But the reason we can't get past that because we have the white supremacist agendas, and then we have the white privilege agendas, and they keep thinking that I will burn this house down if I let you get even an iota of getting up inkling of better what you're already at.
But so here's the thing. The power of white supremacists or white what's the other one? White supremacists,
White privilege.
White privilege. They have leverage. Okay. They have access to industry, they have access to wealth, they have access to a number of different things that other people want, right?
Right.
They have something other people want, and they use that leverage to get what they want. So if I kind of heard part of what you had just said, like when you approach voting, it kind of, and I'm putting myself into what you said because it's how I vote. You vote black.
Of course, I vote for what I feel is going to benefit best for my community and best for me. Not in saying that, I'm not saying that yeah, I'm not an issue voter. If that's the case, I'm not going to vote because I want lower taxes. I'm not going to vote because that's not my issue. I mean, we'd ideally want that, but it's not. I'm not going to say, well, I'm rich, therefore I want a tax break, but fuck y'all. I want y'all to have, you lose your taxes and stuff like that, and I'm going to be a fine of my and riding off of my car, and you're going to on the roads of your tax dollars spent.
All right, so ride with me right quick. If a candidate, you got one candidate that goes up, all right, and I'm going to ask each of you this question. A candidate comes up and they say that they do not say that they are against reparations, but they don't say they're against reparations. They basically don't even mention it. But they do advocate for universal health care. I think all three of us want universal health care. Would you consider that person to vote for them?
Yes, because here's the thing: if we're looking for people to say, and this is where Black people have to be more educated about the language of politics, right? If we're wanting everybody to say, "Oh, I'm going to give you direct reparations," right, directly to you, right? But let's say this candidate says they're for supporting reparations, but they're not supporting affordable health care.
They have no position, no stated position,
no position on health care whatsoever.
No, on reparations. They don't have a pro or con. The only thing you do know is they haven't said they're against it, but they have said they are for universal health care.
Then you're going with that person because the affordable health care is going to affect more of us anyway. That's going to affect the most of the population, because when in politics, your job is not to find select pockets. You're supposed to be governing the majority. You're supposed to govern what's greatest for the greater good of all. It's not for the greater good of my. We're not supposed to go down to the greater good of my politics. But what I'm saying as a Black voter in this country, if what's good for the least of us will be good for the greater of us, right? It's that equity spread amongst us all will be better for everybody. Because from a financial part, let me say this, even from an economics perspective, the more money you put in this class that we have right now, working class people, the more working class people that have money in their pockets, the more they can put into the economy, the more they can put into the stock market, the more they can go create second business, buy your consumer goods that the billionaire class wants them to buy anyway.
Cool. I'm gonna pause you there, and I'm sorry if this ends up feeling like a trap. I promise you, I wasn't trying to lay one. Okay, but now Tracy, it's the same thing. And notice I did not name a party identification. I'm just saying you got a candidate. They're not saying they're against it. They're not saying they're for it, as far as reparations go. But they
think you have you don't have to dog whistle me to say like, oh, I'm gonna do that's because that to me that's like almost like pandering at this point. Because if they're talking about, oh, we're gonna give you reparations, because we had what was the candidate that had earlier? She was talking about, oh, I'm all for reparations. I'm all for this. I'm all for that.
Williamson, I think.
Yeah, she was like all for all the black causes and like that.
Antoine, let's let Tracy.
Okay,
let Tracy take a swing at the bat too, at the ball.
I'm a principal voter. I'm flat out a principal voter. I have 5 issues. And if you are not for any of those 5, you can forget about me voting for them. And one of them absolutely positively includes reparations. It is a debt owed. Not something we deserve, it's a debt owed. So if you're not for health care, if you're not for reparations, if you're against women having autonomy over their own body, if you enable genocide and keep giving weapons to countries, if you take forget about it. And that may be, I may be like idealistic or whatever, but I'm a principal voter. I want to know what you stand for. I don't, that's just me. I'm a principal voter. I know I'm a principal voter. I'm okay with it.
So your answer is, if somebody doesn't have any stated position on reparations, but they do have a stated position on universal health care, you still won't vote for them because they didn't have a stated position. Okay. No. So is it fair to say then you are the type of voter that is really okay with not being heard?
Probably I'm not being heard. I mean, if you look at the current context, and I'm gonna call a congressional black caucus out on this because they irk my last nerves. They have never taken a public stance on reparations by itself. If we're just looking at reparations, matter of fact, Jim Clyburn said he's against reparations for the descendants of African slaves. For some reason, he's for it for Jewish people, against it for black people. Make it make sense to me. But they've never taken a stance on it.
It makes sense to me.
I see it don't make sense to me because I'm like,
that's where the money came from.
See, that's why I said I know I'm a principal voter. I know I'm voting on principles. I know they're never going to hear me. That's why I'm encouraging people to run that line more within my framework so that I can support them.
May I ask you this? What social value do you feel an individual's principles has?
I don't know if I understand the question.
Okay, what I'm saying is, and this is an extreme example, right? This is like hyperbole almost, right? But you have someone hanging by the ledge on the second floor of an apartment building because it's on fire. And you're the only one that could break their fall. But that person is wearing a Klansman's outfit. Your principles, would your principles be, this is a human life, I have to act to save a human life? Or are your principles, this person is apparently, they didn't say a word, but they're apparently a member of a hate group.
Are they in the hate group?
Second floor, right? They're on the second floor, not the fifth, right? I just want to make sure I'm understanding. The second floor, that's not really a real big old drop. I'm just making sense.
If they fall, they probably won't die. They'll just break a leg or something.
Okay, well, I mean, sometimes stuff happens.
Okay, so move it to the fifth floor.
Okay. Or a place where it's dangerous. Okay, so here my double answer of the day. My faith says absolutely human life.
No, not your faith. What do you say?
I know. Let me finish all those things. My faith says you save that person. They have value. Jesus died for them. Tracy says, oh, well, let them fall. I don't care. So I have to decide which one is more important. Is what Jesus says is what's more important, or is what Tracy says is more important? It would hurt. Then I'm gonna have to probably say I'm not as important. As much as I'm like, yeah, but they in a hate group. I still have a responsibility to do whatever it is I can. Again, Tracy says let them fall, break a leg. I don't care. But I can't, for
Second floor is
me, I
break a
can't
leg. Fifth floor,
reconcile.
you out of here.
Not necessarily. I've seen people get off the fifth floor and make it. I've actually seen it.
I mean,
So
people
I'm
have
like,
fallen out of plane before, but I'm just
10th floor now. 10th floor, you pretty much you go into the upper room. But yeah, it's like yeah, you're right. That's an
the
extreme example.
reason why I painted that as such a big example, guys, is because if you're going to say you're approaching it from a principal position, then your principle has to be solid, right? It has to be non-negotiable. Because if there is a qualifier between, well, he might twist an ankle, oh, he might break a leg, or he might just flat out be canceled, that's not a principal position. So if you lay out like in what you shared,
let me just say this. Let me say, if that person was up there in their KKK outfit, they had just got through slapping the shit out of a black
you don't know
mom.
what they did. All you know is they're hanging off the ledge.
Okay, they're hanging off the ledge. They're hanging off the ledge in their KKK uniform.
Yes.
I'm gonna call somebody to help, but it ain't gonna be me. I call somebody. I was like, "Look, please, y'all need to help that man. He up there. That's to help that man. Not me though. I'm not risking my life for him, but I definitely would get him some assistance to where he needs to be at.
Now, how fast are you calling 911? Like, if you
I'm calling just as fast as I call for anybody else.
Like,
how fast you hitting them buttons, Tracy?
I'm still gonna call. I would call.
That's
if you're talking about being principled, that's being principled. Like, it's a human life. Like, if he's
912.
No, I'll call just as fast as I call anybody else. I'm gonna say, look, I might not agree with what he agrees with. I'm not. It's just how that's being person. I don't agree with what he agrees with, but he doesn't deserve to die. Not right now. You know what I'm saying? If he's I'll give him some help, get him all the opportunity to get help. It's not gonna be me though. I'm not gonna put my life in the hand of it.
So here's the setup.
Please.
So here's the setup.
Goes back to my same thing about panhandling.
Huh?
It goes to my same thing about panhandling. If I see, and this might sound, I'm not gonna say this. Never mind. I don't say this. Never mind.
Now I know what you're about to say because I have the same principle.
Yeah, because I'm now curious what you're gonna say.
I'm the same way on.
I say it came through to me. It was too hard to come to my hands. Your whole society is built up for you to get it. Why would I give you mine?
So I agree with you. Let's not speak it out.
That's the same. That's the same principle I'm using for this. Like, I'll tell you where to go, but I ain't gonna give you mine.
And that's cool. That's cool. Because what I'm getting at is when we say that we're an issue voter, like Tracy did, or we say we're representing a community stance, right? Like, if I think I've even made a video about it, that if I was in Congress, everything I do isn't about the Black community, but nothing I do will knowingly be there to hurt the Black community, right? Like, absolutely. That if you put something in front of me and I can tell that this is going to have deleterious effect on my community, you're not getting my vote. Solid, period. We're just not going to do it.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Community, though. I mean, you may have a community depending on your district. You may have a lot of Black people. I mean, like, the majority of people in your district may be Black.
They may be, or like it could be where I live right now, where the majority of my community is actually my community is very blended, white, Black, and Hispanic, right? So if you had a bill that says, hey, we're gonna like the president, the president, like, they offer you things to kind of get you to sweeten to go their way, right? Or the party does this. Okay, hey, we will fund every school in your area at 150% its current funding if you just vote this way. But if the school has more than 60% Black students, they are not eligible. Right? So on the whole, this is supposedly some good thing, but you are targeting a community and I won't do it. Right?
It's not good for everybody.
That's counterproductive.
I agree, but I'm saying these are the twisted things that you can run into.
It's certainly the things you run into.
Right.
It's certainly that's the politics of it.
So when I was flipping this, what I was walking y'all into, I didn't mean for it to go quite where we went, but we say, okay, well, some of us have said reparations is a sticking point. Okay. What if they said the US government came together, like Republicans, Democrats, and the president was like, we're going to put together a reparations package for South Americans.
Oh yeah, we fighting.
You voting for?
So first of all, they're not Americans, and the role of a congressperson. Yeah, I'm going to go all MAGA here, but I really don't mean. My answer is not in support of MAGA.
Like, if you said black people,
no, but they're not United States of America Americans. They're South America is American. If you live in South America, you are American.
No. Tracy, hear me out. I'm saying the USA has done horrible things to the countries.
Other countries,
right?
So, I agree.
Those who are U.S. citizens of South American descent will put together a reparations package for you, but we are not presenting one for those who are descendants of American chattel slavery.
Well, I want
to with the Japanese Americans.
I'm sorry.
They literally did that with Japanese Americans. They got reparations.
That's fine, but we weren't voting back then. I'm saying right now, if that's the stated position,
that person again doesn't get because my
so they didn't say they're against black reparations. They're just not going to let you go first.
They're not going to let you go at all. Then.
Yes. So, did you say that again?
This is what I'm pushing on you guys.
They're not going to let you go at all. Then, because if they can't recognize what's first, then their judgment is already skewed.
That's interesting because it's like the point you made, Antoine, like the economic argument, where more money coming into citizens is going to go right back into the economy. So everyone benefits from the upliftment of the marginal class, right? Okay, cool. But we're just shifting the identity of the marginal class. And when we do that, now all of a sudden it's off the table.
No, we're also shifting you're shifting to a whole nother country, right?
No,
it's like
Americans.
You just said South America.
You say the descendants
U.S.
of South
citizens
American.
of South American descent are the only.
U.S. Okay, U.S. Okay, I forgot. I thought you were talking about foreign aid. I'm sorry, I got it as foreign aid.
Yeah. No.
Okay,
and foreign aid is a whole different discussion.
Yeah. I was like, we're sending 40 million. We're sending reparations to other countries. Like, and I've heard that that was proposed for the South Africa.
Those reparations to Haiti, for example.
They were talking about doing reparations to South Africa too, because they're being discriminated against.
Oh no, to South Afrikaners, not to South Africans.
That's what I said. To the white South African. Exactly. But we were gonna give our money to that though. And I was like, through our world
different
aid.
Argument. That's a whole different. I am saying domestically, not international games. And I'm being cheeky because let's just be real. I advocate for reparations for descendants of descendants of American chattel slavery. I advocate for that. Okay, right? So, but what I'm getting at is, if my position is that's what I want, come hook or crook, I want that for my community. And it's a different discussion on what that looks like and how they're structured, all that stuff.
And even in that, I have a caveat in that. Go ahead.
Sorry, but if the deal breaker is we have to come first, then I think there's a touch of hypocrisy in the positioning, right? Because we want other people to wait because we feel our claim is so big. Don't they feel the same way or similarly?
I mean, let's keep it 100. The U.S. government could give reparations to both groups at the exact same time. We don't have to play the social racial discrimination Olympics, right? The South American descendants can get it. The descendants of slavery can get. We can both get it at the same time. You don't have to put one group necessarily. I think the argument is phrased in that way to divide us.
I phrase it
I
that way
think,
intentionally to expose the divide. Because if
yeah,
you do
because
this, do we now also say that those of us of our community, I view us as one big community, Black community, those of us who claim to be FBA, foundational Black Americans, who say we were never slaves, do they get reparations?
nope, they sure don't, but I'll take their check.
Why should they?
Yeah, they gonna sit here and talk, I'm going to a slave. I'm not from Africa. Oh well,
But
that's
let's be honest though.
most of us.
They
Let's be
should.
honest though.
Here's the argument for it. I mean, for me,
I'm gonna
anybody,
say this. I'm gonna be honest because like as a person who is like I said, like I've showed you my history, Theus. My grandmother was not a slave. There she's on the Indian. She's Black Choctaw Indian, right? My grandfather was a descendant of slaves, so that makes me a mixture of both, right?
should you get the same claim I get?
No, what I'm saying
My
is like
family is like
what I'm
almost
saying is that
100% straight out the boat.
what I'm saying is that if we're looking at the legal system, we're just doing this from a legal system because it had to be done from a legal system. You'd have to do it from what would have the most clamatory harm, right? What claimant could have the most who was inflicted with the most harm? Who we're talking about a 400-year history. I'm using your example now, as you talked about for South Americans or whatever, citizens of South Americans. We had a 100 years. No history has been more injurious than ours history has been through the United States. So therefore, if you're saying if we're gonna say that,
Depends on how you quantify that, big bro.
what I'm qualifying is that if we're talking about through chattel slavery, through if we're talking about the Trail of Tears, we're talking about
That ain't
those.
ours.
Now here's the thing. This is where I think there's a delineation point at. I don't think they're any different. I think that when you talk about we're making a splitting hairs talking about foundational Blacks and African descendants of slaves. What I'm telling you, they all had the same treatment, right? Every last one of them. Like when you talk about the Black Choctaw, they were killed and wiped out and mashed as well, right? So it's not if you had this melanin in this skin, you were getting killed. They didn't care about whether you were foundational, where you came from, or what you had. You were in the way, and then you got killed.
So here's what I want to do, because I don't want to turn into a history lesson, and I don't want us to get lost in the reparations. Reparations, I was just using that as an example, okay? Because it's not the same, okay?
Right, but also I want to say though.
Go ahead.
I was also trying to say this though. When it comes to that, all right, we're talking when we're talking about that, we have to look at it as the total moral issue too, right? So we can't look at it. We're talking about her being a moral voter, right? Or reparations and that. If you're not able to distinguish or not be educated enough to understand the complexity of the situation, if you're just thinking, oh, it's just a Black person descendant of slavery type thing, and not look at the totality of what has been harmed, you're only handling one part of the claim.
So would you agree reparations is a multifaceted topic?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree that women's health autonomy is also a multifaceted topic?
Absolutely.
Would you agree? It is multifaceted because then you get into that religious argument, right, Tracy?
So supposed to have separation of church and state, though.
Are we?
Well, that's what everybody
the same constitution that said that we weren't human also said the separation of church and state. So if you can fix one, you can fix the other. It's all.
And you just proved my point more. That's what I'm trying to say. Like you can't just go, well, this issue goes this way, this issue goes that way. You don't have understanding the total injuries that have happened to Black Americans, Black Indigenous Americans, Black descendants of slaves. You don't understand what this melanin has had on this land. What we have to deal with.
What you're heading into, I agree.
Who benefited from it?
America did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Open that checkbook. and give us what we deserve.
Yes, bro, I'm already with you. I already agree we deserve reparations. What I'm getting at is everybody doesn't come at it from the same place. So if you come at it that pure, right, then you're willing.
I don't think that's very pure, though. I think that's very elementary.
Bro, hear me. We already agree about reparations, fam. Right? Now we probably get into like the nuance. That's a whole different thing, right? That's people study for that, right? But I'm borrowing off of what Tracy laid out. That's why I didn't name they're against reparations. As I said, they don't have a stated position on it, right? Because if you have, like Tracy named her 5, right? My 5 are pretty close to hers, okay? But where we kind of differ, let's say we have the exact same 5, is Tracy says if you violate any one of the 5, done. And then I'm saying if you violate any one of the 5, we got to keep looking at this, because if you violated one of my 5, but you're going to uphold the other 4, that's harm reduction and advancement. So maybe depending upon the one that got sacrificed, we might be able to do something. And I'm going to keep pushing for that last one that you left off the list, right? But it depends on which one it is, right? So for example, one of the 5 that she laid out was reparations. Well, if you take reparations, for me, if you take reparations and you say you can either have reparations or you can have, or women can have their bodily autonomy, I'm going with women having their bodily autonomy.
Right.
That's what I'm gonna do.
That's right? Immediate.
It's not only immediate, but it's something that
pervasive,
I believe can get done. And 2 is a human thing that is a crime right now. Like
daily.
It's a crime right now. The other one is you owe my community for what was stolen from us. You literally set us back hundreds of years in a way that no one can keep. We can't make that up. Even if you gave me reparations, you can't make up what was lost.
Yeah,
but you can at least put us in a better position to compete going forward, right? So
get an apology for rep. We can't even get an apology. Like the government has never.
We've gotten apologies.
We got an apology to Clinton.
Clinton apologized. Obama apologized.
Yeah, they apologized.
Apologies don't mean nothing.
Any Republican apologize?
Oh hell no!
I don't.
They won't even admit it's a problem.
W might have. Who knows? He liked black people, so who knows?
He didn't.
Yes, he did. You see,
he liked Michelle Obama.
W loved black women.
W loved Michelle Obama.
Pay attention to him.
Who else? What other black women he go out to?
Ever loving mind around black women. When he goes to Africa, he was going to Africa when he was the president, and he was in Africa. That dude was all smiles and dancing with every woman that was in the area. That dude has a black woman fetish. That's. But that's neither here nor there.
You from Texas?
What have to do with anything?
Hey, you ain't never been in Texas. Shoot.
So here we go. If you are talking to someone who does not vote and they say what Tracy said, these are my 5, and we have the genocide in Gaza right now. We also have a war about to happen in Iran, which is going to be more dead people. We also have the complete non-involvement and engagement with all the stuff happening on the continent of Africa. So how do you tell that person that they should vote because they just violated one of their 5? Do you tell them don't worry about it?
No, absolutely not. No.
Make some noise. So, for example, this is what I'm doing in my race. I'm real upset that my congressperson has decided, I don't know what a town hall is. They had one in 2 years, not virtual, not nothing. Trust and believe I'm sending email almost every month. Like, when you
what party is that candidate? What party is that candidate? What party is that candidate?
Oh, he's a Democrat.
Okay. Did you vote for him?
I did in 2000. Let's see, he ran 2 years ago. So 2026. Yes, I did.
So you did vote for the Democrat.
I did vote for the Democrat.
Just want to clarify because you say you don't vote for him. So
I know that.
so he should at least listen to you. But if you didn't vote for him, should he listen to you?
Yes, because even if, here's what I would say, even if
I think we're losing your
he's
audio, Tracy.
represented,
Like you're real, you got quiet. Is all.
even if he was in Martinsville, and if you know anything about Indiana, you know Martinsville, that's not black friendly area of the state. His job is still to represent all the people of Indiana, even when that person completely disagrees. That's the job he signed up for. That's who he should be serving. The seventh
We're
district.
getting background from somebody's music or something.
Is that me? Hold on.
I'm like, wait a minute, I know I got everything down.
But go ahead, Tracy.
I do think they should, it's their responsibility to listen to people that don't vote. Why are they not voting? Maybe you're a piece of garbage and they don't want you and need to be encouraged to vote. Maybe you're okay with them not voting because if they don't vote, you get to win because the voter turnout is low and that needs to be exposed. So, yes, I think ideally in my idealized world, yes, they would listen to those that don't vote. But my contention is they don't listen to people who do vote.
I agree with that.
It's not like most people, if you talk to most people, they want some form of universal health care. How come we don't have it?
Because there's another one on their list of 5 that you violated.
Well, health care is on mine. It's,
right. But if the person you're talking
to,
if the person you're talking to does not feel that reparations is something the current era owes, right? So now they're in violation of one of your 5. You can't work with them on universal health care.
Not me.
So you don't. So the challenge is, and this is the challenge I'm saying from an individual who's trying to engage. Okay. Right. I would say to you, if you're out there, if you are so rigid that you have that list and any one of the list gets violated, you tap out, then you don't truly want the things that are on your list. You want people to comply with you. You don't want people to work with you. And it'd be better if everybody would just do what you want. But that's not ever going to happen, because if I told you I have my 5 and my 5 don't match your 5, are you going to do what I told you to, Tracy?
I'll do what you say anyway, so it don't
exactly. So why should the rest of the nation do what you want?
Because this is called strategies for the individual, which is what I am. I'm an individual. So as an individual voter, I have expectations. I already admitted I'm a principal. I'm not budget. Now, maybe I have to do education and tell them, the benefits of universal health care, how it's going to save you money, how it's going to do. Maybe I have to do that type of work. But I don't think my top 5.
And I'm just, I'm going to be honest with you. This is why Republicans stay in power. This is why they stay in power. They can get behind each other on or whatever topic they want to get behind, because they know that they'll get behind anyway. We're so splintered. Well, I got my 5, you got your 5, you got your 5. Oh, if you ain't got your 5, I ain't coming to the table. If you don't give me my 3, I ain't coming to the table. If you don't give me my 4, oh, you gave me 1, but that ain't enough. I'm still not coming to the table. We are so screwed about that. We're so screwed by that because we're working against the people that they don't give a shit what they come up with. As long as they are white, can do what they want to do, they feel like they're above another class, and they feel like they have pride in what their own heritage. If you give them that, I don't give a fuck what you do. I could be starving in my house.
That same argument minus the power and leverage, that's the argument that's kind of been shared here today.
Well,
give me what I want based on my heritage, based on my claim to it, and we can work together. We good. They're saying it from a different stand. They're saying it from the side that's already taken everything. but they're
Right.
still making a very similar argument.
But their argument is they're consolidating their power around that though. We're
Yes.
still negotiating from, oh, I can't give you my power. I'm an individual voter. I can't do this because you don't line up with what I want. They're like, no. That's why I said that if we as a Democratic caucus or whatever you want to call it, whatever, we kill ourselves before we even get to there. So we're looking for one candidate to come through who's scot clean, no
It has every
issues,
position.
has everything we ever dreamed for, and we're disappointed that we can't get candidates up there.
So here's the thing that I guess I would kind of proffer. The left, whatever that nebulous thing is, that is the left, is largely just oppositional. Okay. So to me, third party voters overwhelmingly are like independent voters. They are disgusted with the system. And so they stand in opposition to
the system.
What do you call it? Duopoly. They stand in opposition to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the two parties say or do. They're never going to be clean enough. So they're in opposition to it. They really want a new system that would be better performing. I, as someone who is a disaffected Democratic voter, would love to join the third party. I don't think independent is a real thing, right? This is independent is like you just out there, right? But third parties are at least independents that said this is where I stand. I think they're a mess right now.
And usually third party just one out of those five. A third party person is just somebody who doesn't agree, who's one of those three of those five or whatever, just aren't in their agenda. They become an independent because they're like, oh, well, you're not going to give me my five. Well, I'm not an independent.
Well, no, but see, here's the thing, though, and this is just, but I think we got to be fair, right? Third parties, I have a lot of criticism for third parties. My main criticism for third parties is they're so disorganized and they're so aspirational that the plans don't make sense, right? You want me to put you in power, but you don't have a governing strategy.
They're very it's being idealistic. They're being very idealistic about it.
But they may be unrealistic.
It's aspirational.
But I see them as a growing thing. They're maturing, and in time they will be something else. Versus the Democratic voter. The Democratic voter, not the machine, but the voter, they're just following along. They don't have demands. They don't have any more structure than the third party does. They're just as broken up as a third party is. They just get to say that they're under the Democratic banner. So the Democrats still ignore them too. They ain't listening to them either. So how is a Democratic voter who still isn't going to get anything from their party any better than a third partier whose vote, in my view, is like a wish? You just kind of throwing a wish out there, but they at least are not willing to say, well, at least I'm on the winning team. Like, what is that? You're on a winning team and they ain't giving you nothing. Like, they just taking from
That's the way most people vote. Like when as a third party volunteer, as a person that went out and campaigned for her candidate, that gathered petitions, that is the number one thing I heard all the time. And it's frustrating. You can't win. You can't win. Yeah. They're
the equivalent of a libertarian. They're just on the left.
Well, what I was getting at is this is what you're talking about is media propaganda. Because let's keep it straight. If our media had any common sense, they would open up the debates to more than just two candidates.
Why would they do that?
They do in the primaries.
No, they don't. I've had many Green Party candidates that cannot get onto the debate stage.
That's because they don't carry enough of a population for to get them on there. You're not gonna let everybody who's got a follower of 5 get up on stage and talk to everybody. You're gonna.
I agree with that.
You got to get them. You got to get on the stage if you have a backing. You know what I'm saying? You have to establish a backing.
They should be on the stage. If you're
you got to get your numbers up.
Yeah, so that there
Because
right there,
let me
right
tell you, let me tell you, hold on, let me tell you something.
No.
Let me tell you something. So this is what happens. This is what happens with that situation, right? Then you get the pedophile party that gets to get up there. They're a party. They got a right to say what they want to say. So they
And
get
they
up
just
there.
heard this so we can destroy them. So we can
But
say, yeah, get out of our face and call the police. Yep, let them on
no,
stage.
but they could win because everybody is so
they
split
could
up
win
that
though.
they end up winning on the margin.
They could win. And we just looked at we understand there may be more to the pedophile class than you know. There might be more simple. There might be more there. And then let me tell you this. Here's another thing. There might be other people that say, "Well, that's not a defining issue for me." So I'm going to list all these other issues, and now you got a pedophile in office, like you
Which we
have right
do.
now.
But
Which you have right now.
allegedly.
So what I'm saying is the
But
whole point. But you get my point, though, Steve. Is like if you let the problem is the two sides of the part of the problem is this, right? We on the left, or so to speak, are just too principled. We have to have my issues have to be, or I can't participate. If you don't got it in there, say if you're not gonna help, I'm a part the type of artist like if I can move my culture, my community of ahead 2-3 steps, I can work with you. I might not get it all in one time, but if you can give me
give me
something.
give me a national example of that.
Well, I could have gave you one when it came to affordable health care. That was a very big example because with diabetes and our health insurance being the worst, our health expenses being the worst of anybody in the community in the world and the United States, black mortality rates being higher than anybody else, diabetes being higher in our community than anybody else, lack of health care and environmental hazards that happen to us, all those things that when you have universal health care, that's going to help the majority of us.
So here's the thing. This is where I like to
That's
push
why
back
you
on the
don't have
universal.
it.
Here's the thing about no, that's not where I'm going with it.
I
First,
know.
I'm pretty sure per capita that the indigenous population suffers from alcoholism and diabetes at a greater rate
At a
than
greater
our
rate.
community.
Yep.
But
Universal health
that's
care would
still
help
the
them
two
too.
bottom groups, right? We're the two bottom groups. Okay,
That would
so
still help them too.
yeah. So, but I get you. But how does universal health care address some of the ills that you raise? In my view, I don't even want universal health care if it's not going to target and address the needs of these different communities in this nation. Right? Because right now we can get universal health care and there's no real energy or focus on, well, if we get universal health care, it has to come with a focus on Black female mortality and childbirth. Or if we get universal health care, it has to focus on alcoholism and drug abuse in indigenous communities and poor white communities, right?
Well, here's
That's
the thing.
not anywhere in anything anybody's
No,
ever presented, bro.
And it's
All
if
they
you
want
say
is universal health care.
here's the thing that we have to stop doing though. Like this is where I'm going to sound counterintuitive what I'm saying. If we're always waiting for it to be labeled black this, black that, and we're not sophisticated enough to understand how it's going to affect us also as an American, like just how it is. If we take color out of it, right?
Can't.
I'm just saying. We're for the sake of this example. If I were to say, well, it needs to say black healthcare or it needs to be addressed to black healthcare issues. I agree with you that it would affect, but even if when you start looking at stuff, if there's access to healthcare it's universally applied around the world. Now, if it's equitable and it's universally applied, excuse me, around the country, it'll affect more of us, the larger portion. Now, when you start getting down to like sickle cell anemia, when you start getting down to things that are more typically traded or like bronchiolitis, folliculitis, stuff through our skin, those are definitely things that are black healthcare issues. Then opportunities to go to a dermatologist, opportunities to go to a OBGYN, opportunities to go to a nutritionist,
Neurologist or something. Yeah.
opportunity to go to a neurologist, opportunities to go to a nephrologist.
Bro,
Those things like that.
All you're describing is healthcare. What I'm touching on is even within that, different communities have different needs. And I am saying that if you're going to propose something as major as universal health care, Obama kind of tried to say this to us, but I don't think a lot of people caught it.
He said he
You
couldn't
got
say it.
one chance to get it as good as you can get it, right? So if all we say is single payer health care, because that's what we need, that will instantly be no better than what we have right now. And here's why I'll say it. Rural areas still won't get no hospitals. They can go to the doctor, but they ain't got no hospitals. Native Americans, they still stuck on reservations with the doctors in the trailer. Black people, yeah, well, we're gonna make sure that we throw some copays on the universal plan, so it makes it harder for you to go anyway. Or the doctors still don't see the same value in Black life, so they think we have higher thresholds. What I am getting at is not don't do universal health care if you can't do something for Black folks. I am saying if you're going to do universal health care as a national program, then as it's presented, it must also be presented with the basis of the complexity of this nation and address the needs based on those complexities. If that's not there, then it truly does not benefit. Like it's like, what's the benefit of saving everybody in the car if I have to die? Like where
that's also like saying we're getting down to like what you said at first initially, that we're talking about it's becoming my segment for me and nobody else. So let's say you're a Japanese person that want eyelid reduction. You want your eyelids to be reduced.
That's not the same thing, right?
But it is. That's something that's very prevalent in their community. But if you don't, if that's not, yes, it is. What are you kidding me?
No, it's elective surgery in the. No, I've watched the videos.
It's an elective surgery, but a lot of them want to do it though.
But what I'm saying is you can't compare,
especially in America.
You can't compare that to childbirth and diabetes.
No, I'm comparing to that something that's synonymous with their culture.
They're not even in the same room. I get where you're going,
and I
literally get where you're going, but I'm like, I mean, would I like to have like my skin be all one coat? Absolutely, but then
that goes back to autonomy, though. That goes back to women autonomy, though. Like you're asking for the thing about it is
they're asking for their eyelids, not just.
Them having access to a doctor is what they have. If you want to do that to your body,
the whole thing. So we don't rehash the whole thing. Check out the video Tracy and I did last week, okay? Because we talked about different ways to structure the national plan so that people are taken care of. What I'm getting at is systemic issues, not coverage issues, systemic issues. And America needs to address some of the systemic issues, right? So yeah, that's what I'm trying to hit on there.
I get where you're going, but I think this is a thing that I was trying to get to when I said the media plays a big role. I don't see any problem. Well, I do see why CNN and CBS, they don't have third-party candidates, because that would force people to be like, oh, I do have more than one choice. Think about when, you're probably way too young for this, when Ross Perot ran for president. If he hadn't jumped back in.
I got booted.
Oh, it must have disconnected because we're like, damn, did I make him mad? What the?
Just make him all mad. But he would have gotten. He didn't win an electoral vote. I get it, but in popularity, people knew who Ross Perot was. He got a lot of votes. He swayed some elections in some sense. That's not going to happen now because basically 3 companies control all media, and that's why when you say third parties aren't organized, you're absolutely right. I've always believed that, and I think we need to be better. We're gonna have to think about other ways. We're gonna have to we'll actually go back to that old way of what the people did in the 60s and the 70s. Get out, knock on doors, talk to people. Because we're not going to get media exposure. We're not going to get money from people. Well, we have to do better.
what you're lacking in a lot of ways is you're missing leverage, and you're missing a reason why I should vote for you. Like I don't just take in your content. I take in a lot of different content on YouTube. And because I'm trying to find a new home, right? I don't want to continue to vote Democratic unless, I have to. Because like right now in the short run, I have to, because that fits my principle of harm reduction. But at the same time, I need to be building towards an alternative, right? I need to be in a position that by 2030 or 2032, that there's a third party that actually can come out and make some noise, right? Because what I cannot find as I go looking is a strategy. How do you get leverage? How can you deliver on anything? All I get is what should be. It should be more fair. It should be nicer. It should be. But if nobody's agreeing with you, your should be's do nothing for me. At least I can lean on. I know the Democrats, they profit off of keeping poor people alive. So they're gonna shove a little benefit out
that's
there.
where I have a problem with your theory. And let me tell you what I have a problem with it for. You have to first, to get leverage in the political realm, you have to first get elected to office. To first get to elected to office. Well, no, I'm talking about I said the political sphere.
You don't.
You can be an activist, and do mutual aid and all those type of things, but I'm talking about a specific, because I interview third party candidates, that's my thing. When I'm interviewing these people, to me, well, one, I'm just giving them a chance to say, here's my campaign, check me out. Have them talk about what it is they want to talk about. Strategy is, that's all. You need volunteers. See this? You need volunteers to get strategy together. Hear me out.
Why would you give why would someone volunteer?
That's up to that candidate to connect with people that are mutually they're connected to. When a third party candidate is thinking about running for office, this is the first thing I always ask. I don't ask it on the show. Have you identified 3 people that you know will support your candidacy? Have you identified 3 people? 3.
So you get 4 votes?
No, to volunteer. To vote, can you get 3 people to volunteer for your campaign today?
If you don't already have 3, you shouldn't be running.
I wish y'all would let me finish. Can I finish a whole? But what I'm saying, you have to build momentum. You have to build structure. You have to build infrastructure. And me, I'm not for letting my strategy just out there. Yes, I believe in telling people why they should vote for you. But in terms of strategy, how we're going to reach out to voters, I don't need to air that publicly.
How's that been
I
working?
just need to have the strategy.
How's that been working?
It hasn't been working. I agree with you. I'm saying it hasn't worked, and maybe we need to rethink that. But this is just my
opinion is that the best thing you could be as a third party candidate is a disruptor. That's the only thing you can really be, because which is fine. Which is being a disruptor. If that's a win for a third party candidate, because if you're a disruptor, that means that you turn both those tables to look towards you to say, hey, I got something to say. You better listen to what I got to say. You've done your part.
There's 34,000 third-party candidates that currently hold office right now.
So what?
And there are 34,000 independent, not Republican, not Democrats, that hold office right now. And that is
does not equal third party.
Yeah.
I said I should have said independent third party, because some just run as independents. I kind of put them all together, but they're not Democrat, they're not Republican, and they hold office. Now, of course, the bigger the office gets, the more the responsibility gets, and the harder the road is to tread. We unfortunately only pay attention to the presidential election. That's what most people do.
Well, let's look at Mondavi. Mondavi just got New York, and he's a third party candidate. Or I guess he was an independent candidate.
He's a Democrat.
He's a Democrat.
No, he's a Democrat. He ran under DSA, and I'm
wait. How is he a Democrat? He got no support from Democrats. None of the corporate Democrats supported him.
Wait. So let me clarify that. Mamdani did have a lot of Democratic support. Keep in mind that Democrats it's a huge group. right? Basically, being a Democrat is that I'm not a Republican. That's the main definition of a Democrat. So young people, minorities, second generation immigrants, right? Those people overwhelmingly voted for Mamdani, and they are registered Democrats. The Democrats who did not support Mamdani were the Democrat leadership, right?
Corporately.
It
Yeah,
was the
corporate
ones, it was the corporate Democrats and the APAC Democrats.
right.
Those are the ones that didn't support Mamdani, but the people. And so he was able to overcome the dollars by having too many
And,
people for them to deny.
He was
and you
grassroots.
know,
He was grassroots though.
yeah, that's exactly
Kind of.
right. And here's
It wasn't
here's
quite grassroots in my opinion,
yeah,
because grassroots is what the third partiers are trying to do. You got 5,000
He was
third
a
party candidates
he
all
was
trying
a
to run.
comedian rapper before. He was very grassroots.
Well, hear me out. I'm not saying he didn't have grassroots support, but he did what he improved on the Bernie Sanders model, in my view. What he did was he's technically more of an independent who leans Democrat,
Exactly.
and his subset is DSA. But he could not have even had the success he had not Bernie achieved what he did and AOC achieved what she's done. So that energy helped him in that respect. But he was still a Democrat. If he had tried to do it completely outside the system, he would have been frozen out and it never would have gotten where you wanted to go. To Tracy's point, he never would have got a chance
y'all
to have
missing
a
a
debate.
big old. You're missing two very important points about that race. The reason that Mamdani was so successful is because of ranked choice voting, which they have in the primaries, but they
That's
don't
true.
in the generals.
Yeah,
That
that's a
is
big
the
part.
number one reason
That's
why
not
he
number
was
one.
so successful. That's the number one reason why he started at 1%, because he started at 1%.
He's at the bottom. Mm-hmm.
He got those volunteers.
And people hated Cuomo.
Well, who's out here liking Cuomo?
But
Cuomo
he
doesn't even
needed
like
that.
Cuomo.
That helped him.
But he helped him. That helped him though.
Yeah, but I'm saying if it was not for ranked choice voting, that simple thing that got him on that stage, third party candidates can't get. It's hard. I'm not saying it's impossible, because again, I said there's 34,000 non-Republicans and non-Democrats that hold office, and all of them most likely got there without ranked choice voting. But
So
the
why
higher
isn't
the office goes, it gets real hard.
that the rallying cry?
We do advocate. We don't do a good
I'm
job
not saying you
of
don't
it.
advocate for it, but why isn't that the biggest thing?
Ranked choice voting, when I talk about it, it's so hard to get people to understand it.
That's true.
It's really hard to say, hey, you got 5 choices, and don't leave me be concerned. I don't know why it is, but it's hard to say, hey, you got 5 choices. Just rank 1 through 5. Most people, when they vote, one, they're in a rush to do it, or they're so used to just pulling that one lever. They're just used to, okay, I'm just gonna vote straight Democrat. I'm just gonna go straight this way, and they're not used to having options.
But isn't all of this about behavior modification? Isn't this all about
It is,
expanding?
absolutely.
So then it's the third party's job to
I
do
agree with you.
that.
I'm
But
not disagreeing. Yeah, I'm
where I
not
think
disagreeing with you.
no, I feel you.
I agree.
But and the reason why I'm harping on third party out there, guys, is because I think it's the thing of the future. I just don't think it's a thing right now. And it's not because we can't do it right now. It's because the third parties can't do it right now. Right. I still hark back to what I've raised a couple times. Third parties need to stop crying and whining about why the other two won't let them come play their game, and focus on why it is they're doing what they're doing in the first place. If the reason that you're doing this is because the existing system is corrupt, the existing system doesn't listen to the people, then third party, you need to focus on those two things. Don't be corrupt and focus on the people. So now, why aren't you having, like we said in the last, like when we did before, Tracy, why aren't you having the town halls? Why aren't you at the public parks? Why aren't you debating and fighting each other so that your third parties can start to congeal? And we, instead of having 8 different people all saying, I'm a third party because Theus Robinson for president, right? Vote for me.
We want green M&Ms.
Right. Stop it. You need to have your own thing completely divorced from the Democrats and the Republicans. Stop begging and crying about not being on stage with them. You know they're not going to say nothing but sound bites the whole time they're up there anyway. So have the debate amongst yourselves, beat each other out, and then get behind the surviving party, the surviving candidate.
I don't think you need to beat each other out.
You have 2 third parties who come out of this instead of 6, and those 2 are big, and those 2 have followings and volunteers and infrastructure. Because like me, there ain't no way you're gonna get me to vote for Cornel West for president.
And you know that was my pick. You know that's who I voted for.
But the Justice for All Party has a decent platform, right? The Green Party, I got some issues with them, but they have a very decent platform. But I ain't gonna vote for Marianne Williamson.
You mean Jill Stein?
Jill Stein.
Marianne Williamson. She's a Democrat.
Oh, is she really?
Marianne Williamson. She is a Democrat. Absolutely.
Sabotage.
She ran for the chair of the DNC. Absolutely, she is absolutely a Democrat.
Okay, cool. Anyway, but fight it out. Give us something to lean on, and then you'll find a lot of disaffected Democrats will go. And once you do that, you've hollowed out the Democrats. Because that's where your votes come from. Let's just be very real about it.
Yeah,
third-party voters come from Democrats.
I don't, like I said,
because I'm going to say third party keeps saying they're going to activate the 175 million that have been sitting on the sideline. They're not going to activate them. They think they're going to activate those that are on the margins that are not voting. They think that they're going to activate them. They're going to overcome everybody else. And that's just not how it's going to work. It's not going to happen like that.
Oh boy, I disagree with that. Well, here's how
I
disagree. It isn't happening. I'll say this: it is not happening.
The reason that's not going to happen because those voters have more issues than you have. They have more. They're single issue voters. They're going to we want this, and this, and this, and this. You're gonna be trying to catch wind in a bottle.
They all have their 5, Tracy.
They all have their 5. So how are you going to consolidate them to get to your 5?
I've already admitted I'm a principal voter. I know most voters.
But I'm saying there's a lot of you, Tracy.
There's 175 million of them.
I don't think there's.
I think there are.
There's 150 million of y'all.
I think yeah.
I think here's what I think. You're right. Right now at this moment, we are not energizing the person that sits on the couch, because all 3 of our goals is, hey, person on the couch, get up and do something.
Well, my position is no different.
Wait a minute, but what I'm saying is, if the third party definitely needs to work on, hey, how do we get that third person off the couch and get them on our team? I will openly admit that. I have no problems admitting it, because that's crucial. Because if you get the people that don't vote to show up, now you're talking about movements and you're talking about real change, instead of this word salad thing that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party.
If I were going to approach a third party voter, this is what I would do. I would say, hey, tell me what your gripes are, right? And I would try to find the common threads between their gripes and what I have gripes for, right? So if their gripes are they don't like the way that the food is being produced, like there's too many toxins, there's too much red dye in the food, stuff like that. They have most of their issues around health and environmental issues, right? Let's say that's one of the third party issues, right? I'm gonna say, well, I understand that. I understand that's a very valid point. Empathize with them, and then I'll say, hey, but also one of my points is this: I also want responsible capitalism, right? I want the big ConAgras and stuff like that of the world to be better stewards of the world, and also give us a product that we can eat and consume, and not vilify the areas that they're in. Like don't put all this pig shit in the air, and then you have those things. So now I found a common ground between the both of us, right? So that's what you got to do. You got to do that through all these third party groups.
Yeah, I like that. Do me a favor, so that we can kind of pull it together a little bit. Antoine, because you just brought up that awesome point. I'm gonna start with you, then you, Tracy. Okay. Um, to the unidentified third party voter. Well, no. I'm sorry. The unidentified non-voter. How would you approach them? Just talk to them. Like, what? How might you say to them?
Who did you want to answer the question?
Oh, Antoine.
Oh, me?
Oh, okay.
Well, first I would approach them like I said. You have to find the commonalities between the strengths between y'all, because what this politics and governments is about doing the most, or doing the what you can to affect the most amount of people, right? And then my job is to try to figure out what his issue is, what my issue is, what Tracy's issue is, and what your issue is, and how can we come with what are common grounds we want. Do we want safe families? Do we want stable jobs? Do we want a way to make our own choices? Whatever those five. Now, if I can't get to all your five, I'm gonna try to find strings that can tie our important ones together, right? That's governance. That's governance in a nutshell. I'm not going to be able to get to all your five because I have 150 other million people that have those five too. But I'm going to get if I look on your list, you got this, you got lists on your list, then those are issues I can work for. That's strategy right there, right? Now I know that, okay, out of all these people, and this is what goes back to what you're saying, Tracy. This is going to require a lot of town hall meetings. This is going to require a lot of grassroots leadership. This will require, because you got to gather in all that information of what these people are, what the consensus are, or what the thoughts are the issues for these people. That's how you're going to bring them off the couch. Because if you don't, because once they know that, okay, this is one of my issues that I'm dealing with, and this is the issue that they're dealing with. I'm not going to get all your issues. I say I can't get all of them, but I'm going to get the ones that are most common amongst all of us. Right. And a lot of times that might go back to capitalism. That might go back to corporate greed or whatever. That might be the biggest one that we're seeing trickle down to all our other issues. So that's how you're gonna you can't just say, oh, these are my five and I can't. You got to find the common thread between everybody. That's the only way you can do it.
Well, I'm stubborn, Thea, so I'm gonna always say I'm not moving off my five. I don't care. That's me. Again, I'm saying this is a thought of mine. But here's what I would say to the because for me, the issue I'm always going to start with is the economy. It's always the economy. Everybody either wants more money or needs more money or can't get something because they don't have money. To me, that's all. Now, obviously, if my constituents are telling me something different, I'm going to listen to that. But I pick the economy because it's something that affects us. I would say.
Now, tell me, wait, let me ask you this question, Tracy. Now, let's say you're talking about the economy. Let's say you're talking about the economy from someone who has money and you're someone who may not have as much money. How would you bring me off the couch?
To the person, I could talk way better to the person that doesn't have money because I don't have it. But if I'm talking to the person that has money, I would say to whom much is given, much is required. You earn more, you need to pay more. That's me. Oh, well, that's just the way it
He didn't say rich, Tracy. But to be fair, Antoine, let Tracy do her.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
To the person that does not have money, like again, I could really talk to them because I'm like, do you realize, to the person that doesn't vote, that not only does your state most likely send Israel money out of your tax dollars, the federal government sends, I believe, if I get this number wrong, please stop me, 8 billion with a B to another country. Wouldn't some of that money, because I'm not even here to say don't send any money, because I believe in humanitarian efforts. Anytime there's a flood or an earthquake, we need to send doctors, we need to send medicine, and I'm for that, not weapons. I'm not for sending weapons. We could take some of that $8 billion and direct it to healthcare for children, because at least we got to cover the children. We got to cover our seniors. We could expand the SNAP program. We could do that if we didn't have these politicians that were so in bed with AIPAC that they'll take money from them to mess with you. That's probably going to be my message. But again, it's going to depend on what the people at the town hall meeting say. They may say, hey, We want something. I'm for getting rid of capitalism because I don't think capitalism necessarily works. How do we set up that alternative economy? It's not going to be an overnight thing. Do we need to? Do we need to talk more about a social capitalism structure, which is where I think we need to go with? Because capitalism, as much as I hate it, is not going to die tomorrow. It's just not. And I have to deal with that. So it depends on, again, what the people are saying. Because if I'm representing them, I need to listen to not necessarily what I want. I mean, I'll give them, hey, this is what I want, but I want to listen to what they have to say. Not what I'm just like, well, I want reparations, which I do. I'm not gonna bend on my five, but I'm not gonna just tune out everybody just because one, they disagree with me, or two, their five may include something that's different from my five because they may say something I can say, hey, you're concerned about food and chemicals in food. That's right under healthcare to me. Or you're concerned about starting a business. Well, that's tied to corporations that hoard money. I I would make the adjustment. That's what I would do.
So before I give mine, Antoine, did you want to follow up? Was because I think you had
Yeah,
something you wanted.
because like when back in was it 2008 when Obama was coming into office or whatever. One of the things that when I was a Democratic delegate for Georgia, what the caucus pre-caucus meetings that we have from all different areas and stuff like that. When you have the Georgia caucus that gets all the other caucus and stuff like that, and you come to your commonalities, the one of the key things that we were trying to do is to get buy-in from as many people as possible because you're trying to elect a black Democratic president at the time. So the things that we looked at is like if you were taking race out of this equation, right? What are the common threads that fall between everybody? This was the theme of what we strategized to get Obama into office, and we had to look at that. We take race out because what you're looking at is that what affects the most of us was going to be the best for us, all of us, right? If I that's why I said when Theos was saying, well, black medical, this and that, I was saying, well, if you have, it was like, and Obama, he talked about this in an interview with the Breakfast Club. He couldn't say black because if he said black, he would automatically activate and polarize a whole nother side of the government, and he knew that. And then that side of the government was going to be very oppositional. They're going to say, well, if you're going to be black, me just being my skin being black sitting here, you're already going to be opposed to it. So when I say, oh, I'm going to do something for the black people now, they're automatically going to, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to do something for the white people. So they're going to automatically come in opposition, and you're not going to be able to get anything passed or anything through.
Real quick on that point.
Mm-hmm.
You're not Obama, so I'm not expecting you to speak for him. Okay. But yeah, that entire argument falls so flat. And the reason why is if we can't expect white people to speak for the black community, and we can't expect a black president to speak for the black community, who will ever speak for us? That's one part. Another part, Barack Obama was already under attack simply because of how he shows up.
Exactly.
So
but you're saying that white people automatically speak for each other anyway. That's the white privilege
and white supremacy. Our current administration, Antoine.
So they currently speak for themselves. They've always spoken for themselves.
Right. So you have America is built on whiteness anyway. So you have that. Mm-hmm. But what I'm getting at is that particular aspect is always like a bee in my bonnet, I guess, because to me, Obama was one of the best presidents we've had, but it was such a low bar, so he is a great president in my view because most of the presidents are so terrible. He was decent. His family had no chaos. He did try to do some things to help people. I think the Affordable Health Care Act was an improvement upon the existing healthcare system. I believe that what he intended got watered down, and what we ended up with was basically a manifestation of Congress, right? But if the black man can't speak for black people, who does. Now I have an answer for that, but
I'm saying like this. But
who does?
if I could speak for black people and not say like white people speak for white people, they don't say I'm speaking just for white people. Just till
No, they use
recently.
code.
Until
They use
recently.
code. No, even then they use code. They, fly over
Exactly.
country.
There you go. You're exactly right.
Um,
You just said it.
Right. So what code did Obama use for black people? Other than when he told us to like be better fathers and
Well,
Pull
the
our
thing
pants up.
I agree. I will agree with you, and I'll agree that that's the part about what I said is that Obama had to find the commonality traits through everybody. When you look through the lens of black people, what are the things that we're going to both need? We need a baseline stabilization, safe neighborhoods, economic engines
bro,
that give us money.
those are loaded.
This is what I'm saying. Why not?
Bro.
Why are you not?
Here's what. Let me. Okay, so can I please you? Okay,
If
Trump
for the
did
least
that,
of us,
right?
Least,
But
come
you
on,
could.
bro. I'm
Nah,
sorry. Go ahead, crazy.
nah. Wait a minute. Hold on. So y'all know I'm no Obama fan, but I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice
I'm
because
not
he
a Obama
did have
fan either, but
but he did. If you look at the position he was in, it was a difficult one, right? He had to not necessarily overcome it, but we also have to think if white people did not vote for Obama, he would not be president. That's why he picked Joe Biden, a centrist, and I'm being real nice when I call him a centrist
Corporate
because I
Dem.
got other words for Joe Biden that I could really use, but I'm not. He had to pick somebody white. He couldn't go out there and pick somebody black. He might as well just say, "Hey, this over." He didn't get that privilege. He also, even though I think you could have did more, there is a white supremacy element to it because
A black what?
well, there is a white supremacy element
Oh,
to it.
white supremacy. Oh.
Yes, there's a white definitely because Mitch McConnell said we're going to make him a one-term
I mean,
president.
he's just one man, okay? But
One man, I get where you're going,
I
but
know what this
aesthetic,
country is. I agree with you. I know what this country is.
yes.
Yeah.
But what I think I'm getting at is this. Um, Sometimes and I do it, I know I'm guilty of it. When a politician is black, no matter what level they are at, whether they're city council, whether they're mayor, whether they're a governor, I tend to expect more.
Which is not
I
fair.
don't know. I agree. I
Which
said
is
it.
kind of
Hey,
what Antoine was getting at. But
I
only
know,
thing
but
is this. I've only
no,
part I'm
that's
pushing
not.
back
That's
on
wait.
guys.
Hold on. Let me say this before I do tell you to speak for me. Like what I'm saying is that when you're talking about how Obama had to play ball, right? How he had to play ball with these white people. That's how he played ball. I'm not saying he played ball. He and then we took the legs from underneath him. In the second term, we didn't bring no help for him.
Agreed.
How is
he
he
got
supposed to?
93% of the black vote, though.
But
No,
he
no, no,
needed.
no.
But
That's
no,
different.
no.
That's
So
different.
you understand it. You still understand. See, that's what we can't be. If we say, "Well, he could have got 100% of the black vote," and he still
No, he
wouldn't have
never
got.
was going to get 100%.
He still wouldn't
He
have got
never
nothing
was going
done
to.
though. How was he supposed to get
We
shit done?
didn't
We're only
send
14%
help.
of the population though.
We did not send help. And we did not do what he expressly told us to do. He said, as he was going into office, that you must push me because he understands how the game is played. Those who make noise create momentum. And if you just come in here and
Now, that I
celebrate
will
me
agree
being the
with.
first black
Exactly.
president, then you're not giving me the
Yep.
energy that I need. I need
Exactly.
you to actually criticize and push so that I can go to bat for you because it creates energy. So I agree with that. Only thing overall, like I said, I think Obama was a wonderful president for what he was. I think he did a miraculous job in that office for what he had to deal with. I'm only taking back that part, like when he tries to use that Breakfast Club speaking point, because you can't tell me the reason why you didn't speak for me is because you didn't think anybody would listen to you. You literally hold the
No,
highest
you're the
position in the
president of
room.
the United States. You could
No,
call a press
But
conference anytime you
but I
want.
don't think that should mar what he was, right? Now I have views on what he's been since then that mars what he was, but I think
He's been
I
doing
can't even
stuff.
imagine anyone doing a better job in the office than he did. And it's very easy for me to say that because all I got to do is look at all the other presidents.
I mean, especially if you look at the current one. If I'm comparing, because Biden only had one term, so if I'm going Trump, Obama, well,
Biden did. If we looked at Biden's one term,
Biden did a great job.
It's been a good job too compared to this what we have
I'm
right
gonna
now.
keep my mouth shut. I'm gonna just not say
Well,
anything.
then here's the question: is then
good enough?
then who is going to be good enough? Ain't nobody going to be good. Jesus
It's
ain't
not
coming
that you're
there.
not. I didn't say that.
Who's gonna do the job? No
But
way.
when you say I have to be pushed, just do the right thing anyway.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
I'm talking about ideals. I'm
Right.
talking about
You
The right thing for who?
should happen with no leverage. You need leverage.
Yes. I just think that's the problem.
Who does?
That's
Because,
the
who does
problem.
what's right?
You
just
still
because it's
you're
right.
gonna be the woman shouting outside from the street across the corner that ain't nobody gonna hear you. You got to get in the building, Holmes.
You know what? That's fine with me. If I'm the only person, that is okay with me. I've done it
That's
before,
not
and I'll
true.
do it again.
That's not true.
That's not true.
If that was fine with you, you would not be such a strong activist.
And you wouldn't put effort towards it.
You are a strong
I don't
voice.
think I'm a strong activist.
You are.
I really don't. I think my activism needs to be activated. I really don't.
Think that, I mean, can it be stronger? Yeah, but look at what you do. You speak at marches. You platform third-party candidates that nobody else will listen to. You advocate for your positions, and you even devoted an entire platform to Cornel West. That's activism. That's doing something. But
and you believe in the principles of democracy, and you believe in the purest form. That's what where you.
That's what I am. I'm a purist. That's
where you and
that's it.
And that is where it's at. That's where you're at. That's where you're at. And you're a purist in democracy, but we're dealing with a 200-year democracy that ain't pure no more.
It ain't never been a democracy.
It ain't never been a democracy.
For 60 years.
You bought into the dream of democracy, and then there's the reality of democracy.
Yeah, I'm just like, do the right thing. I shouldn't have to push you and plod you and
should.
argue with you.
You absolutely should.
You absolutely should.
Why do we have any structure? You have religion because people have to be pushed and guided to the right thing. You don't just say, hope y'all make it. No, somebody has to bring the word and bring the education and help you understand.
But if they don't listen, bye. That literally
that's not how you came to the faith. That's not even how you came to your party.
That's like you go to church one time, you say, okay, I gotta know.
But hey, I'm gonna do mine. All right.
Go ahead.
Because we got way far afield. So for me, if I'm talking to the non-voter, okay, my appeal to you as a non-voter is no matter where we stand on any particular issue, the one thing I can absolutely say we have in common is that we are Americans. And being an American should mean something. You've heard a version of this from me before. Being an American should mean something. It should mean that your nation takes an active investment in you, your welfare, and your community identity. That's what it is to be an American. American is supposed to be a melting pot. American is supposed to be an aspirational thing. And if America is going to take care, if America is supposed to take care of its citizens, then we must define what it is to be a citizen. And I say that you should not go bankrupt because you got sick. I say that you should not have to go and find a particular employer just so you can have health care. I say that your food should at least be as safe as any other nation of our peer group. I say that the only way America can strive and grow and be competitive on a continual basis is that we continue to educate our young people and we help identify the best among us so that they can then take a responsible leadership role. And that only happens through education and opportunity. So when we look at who it is that you need to vote for, it's a hard thing out there. It's a hard thing because you might not see yourself in the Democrats. You may not see yourself in the Republicans. You may not be able to find a third party that works for you. So my challenge to you as a non-voter is what matters to you. What type of America do you want? And now let's look at how we can move towards that. And in the meantime, let's say I can't convince you. Let's say that everything I'm saying sounds all apple pie in the sky. You done seen it fall apart. You done heard the lies before. Very well. So as a non-voter who can't get into the system, my challenge to you is, where can we work outside of the system to make it better for someone else? That's my appeal to the non-voter, right? It's not an economic argument per se. It's not a program or anything like that. I believe the best way to get across to a non-voter, a disaffected voter, an active voter, is, what do we truly share? And the only thing we truly share is that we're Americans. So now we need to redefine what it is to be an American, right? Because we get into Black, Asian, blah, 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 blah. Those are all kind of arbitrary subgroups in America. How do we make this thing benefit? That's my thought. That's my take. What do y'all think?
I think we said the same thing.
I think we're all saying the
kind of
same thing.
different,
We're just
because
taking it
your
from different
approach,
approaches.
Antoine, was, let me find issues that overlap. And then Tracy's approach was more of a moral argument in a way. I'm saying we don't even have to have those direct discussions. We need to look at what it is to be an American. Rally around the flag. And for those of us who have a problem with the flag, we need to look right at it and let's make it a better nation under that flag.
Or you can feel proud of being that flag.
Huh?
If you feel like that flag is an issue, let's do something that would make you feel proud to be under that flag.
Exactly. Again. Where has America fallen short? How do we make it better? Right? But if we get lost in healthcare, we'll end up quickly getting into some of the discussions we were having, right? If you get lost in economics, like Tracy started, to me, she started a good place with economics, but then it became a theoretical argument on the value of socialism and capitalism and stuff like that. Well, you lose people right there, because like a person like me, I don't view capitalism as evil. And I don't view socialism as heavenly, right? They're both
pragmatic.
They're both, like, we live in both right now. Like, they're both here, right? So you're not going to have a clean system. Socialism is an economic argument. First of all, it's not a governing argument. Socialism is who owns the means of production. Capitalism is who owns the means of production. Capitalism says small group owns it. Socialism says labor owns it. All right. What the real comparison point, if you're talking about governing structures, democracy and communism, those are governing comparisons, right? But we always split and twist them because we don't have a clean system, right? So if you come to me talking about all capitalism is bad, how socialism gonna make my life better? Have you ever watched collections of people? It'll quickly deteriorate. And we will quickly end up in, the people own it, but it's only the white people. How is that different than
quickly? That would be very quickly happen here. Socialism will put us in a worse situation we're already in.
If you're trying to do a pure system. But I do agree, though, like once I get my business running the way it needs to be, I will create my own union under the structure of my business. I ain't got to wait for my people to go and create one, right? You'll have your board of directors will have labor represented in that board, and labor will vote for who their representative is in that board. Every decision, they see everything, all the numbers, everything, right? Invite labor in, work together to get this thing done. Because here's one of the issues I have with like these really strong leftists. They act like labor has all the answers. And 9 times out of 10, the people that I talk to who are like that have never been in a leadership position a day in their life.
All they know is
labor. Never had to balance a budget. They ain't never had to analyze a cash flow statement. They ain't never had to do capital investments.
Marketing,
right?
Hiring,
labor,
HR, none of that shit.
Yeah, labor is how things get done, but management makes it so you have stuff to do.
You got to find you business.
So you got to work together. So yeah, that's why I'm like, if you come to me with a clean socialist argument, you lose me. You come to me with a pure capitalist argument, you lose me. But if you could appeal to the fact that I have this citizenship and make this citizenship finally mean something,
or for shit,
without us sacrificing some other group, then yeah, let's talk about it. But hey, we've hit 2 hours. I'm sorry. I appreciate that. Y'all got any closing thoughts y'all want? Just go ahead and drop them. Tracy, you go first.
I am back. The Tracy Show is back. We just did an episode yesterday. Join me Saturday as I count down the Legion of Doom. Counting them down. Who I like most, who I like best. That's my end name. I gotta laugh. And of course, the Sunday show, I will be talking about the State of the Union address. I got some thoughts that I don't think I've heard anybody else say. So just join me for those two at Tracy Media 74.
I didn't even watch it.
I thought you said Legion of Boom. I thought you were about to say, well, yeah, I know you ain't swiping still.
No, not in this lifetime. Nope. Talking about Legion of Doom. Lex Luthor, Cheetah, Giganta.
I guess my last statement would be we all have to find out. We have to find out where we can get in the game at. Like this, you had a very good dissertation about how with that point you kind of can assimilate all our points together. But you have to find out what your common thread is. What you got to get to. What it is. This American banner, this flag that we fly up under. What is it that you want to be a better union? How do you want to be a better union for and you can't get it down to like what can be a better unit for me? Because I think that this individualism is what screwed us all over. What's a better? It's better for me. I don't give a shit what's better for you. It's all about me. And then I think that's what we have. We have to understand what's a better for like you said, to be a better American. Like what does that mean? Abroad and domestic, right? What does that look like for all of us? And walking on that principle, and that's a good place to start. Find that common ground that we can work from, and then build on from there. But it should not have to be that I have to sacrifice for one group to be better than the other group. And the thing that white people have to understand, and people have to understand, period, is that for all of us to be on that flag, that white supremacy and white privilege is a cancer to us. Because what you're saying is that I'm going to sacrifice, I'm going to anesthetize ourselves for one part, and then the other part you have to deal with what we'll go with, and that's it. We cure the cancer, we have a better union.
So here's where I would kind of spin off
for everybody
as I shut it down. I think that I know for a fact that America was built the way it was built. And it was built to benefit a particular group, which is the white American, right? And that whiteness has evolved over time in America. It's very flexible. It takes in different groups as it chooses, and it excludes others. So really, to me, America has a caste system. Where I'm focused a lot on is I want to see what type of America I want my grandchildren to inherit. And that America cannot be a good one if we're obsessed with settling old scores. That doesn't mean you let things go. But I am saying that if the mentality is we must take from these other people who have benefited, you're never going to get anywhere, in my view. And I think that's one of the reasons we have the opposition to things like...
Get them hoteps coming.
Well, I mean, that's cool. They can come. I mean, I once held many of the same beliefs that they do, and I'm not in opposition to them in many cases. I just speak my points a little different. But if I have $100 and I have that $100 because my father gave me $90, but you come to me and say 90 of the $90 he gave you were stolen from my father, give it back to me. How willing do you really think I'm going to be to go from $90 to $10, no matter how strong your story is or your so-called claim? And it's a so-called claim because it wasn't me. I did not encourage my father to do these things or any of that stuff. But I believe that when you get to a certain scale, which is a national scale, then yes, the sins of the father are right. Like I inherited the negative, you inherited the positive, right? But to even the scale some, my approach is not I'm going to take it from you. My approach is you got what you got, right? You're a billionaire. Let's say you're a billionaire. You got what you got. I'm not telling you to give me your money. What I'm saying is because you were able to benefit off of a system that only allowed you to get that because of the victimization it did to people like me, I need you to now commit to helping put some things in place so that we can start to catch up. You got what you got. Keep running your race. But now the people who are intentionally disadvantaged, for you to have that, you need to help them catch up some, right? So now it's not taking from someone's pie, it's saying let's make the pie bigger and understand that we all have different claims, right? I don't want equality. I don't believe equality is a real thing. I want justice, right? And I want justice for my community. I want justice for every other community out there. I even want justice for your community out who got all this stuff, because there's some things you got grievances too, right?
I think I just want equity.
But see, equity is, what is equity?
Ownership in.
Okay, but where are you getting it from?
The ability to have it for myself.
And to those people, they would say you do have that ability.
No, what I'm saying is that
restrained ability, but they would say you have the ability.
What I'm saying is that the opportunity for me to have more equity in what is about, whether it be in manufacturing, whatever it be in.
Okay. So that I would agree with that, but I would say that the way that America would address that, and I don't want to go into we should maybe have a reparations conversation. But we would go into that aspect is I can't go back in time to Oregon that had laws on the books until the 1950s, I want to say, where Black people literally could not own land.
Yep.
So that means from inception to that time in the 1950s, we couldn't own the land. We couldn't own the resources. We couldn't own the manufacturing. We couldn't own the houses. We couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of wealth baked into that. I can't go back in time to fix that, but I can say that now we live in a new world where we have digital infrastructure that's coming on board. So I want my community to benefit from that expressly. I want us to benefit from that. Like, help us be part of the leading edge of that, right? But strategies for the individual voters.
Might be physical property, could be intellectual property.
Whatever it might take, but we need to be creative and we need to be like, okay, stop shutting us out of the new age. A perfect example to me would be the weed industry, right? It's tapering off now, but you didn't decriminalize it on the federal level. You still were locking people up, poor people up for selling it. And yet you made sure that the only people who could get the distribution licenses were overwhelmingly white.
Exactly.
Yep.
See, that
will still throw your Black behind in jail if you get caught with it.
Right. Reparations would have been, or a more restorative approach would have been, that Black Americans are roughly 14% of the nation's population. So roughly 10 to 20% of those contracts should be earmarked for Black people.
In every segment.
And then you can structure SBA loans to help the well-qualified, right, as far as business acumen and a business plan, to help those people buy in so that they can go and do those things. That's a restorative plan. But we didn't do that, right? But strategy for individual voter. We went all over the different places. I think some really good stuff covered. I hope if you hang in here this long that you heard some things you like. You may have heard some things you didn't like. You might have agreed with somebody more than the other. But thank you for checking us out. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Antoine, for hanging out with me this evening. And that's it, man. So my name's Theus. And you know my little catchphrase? Just thinking out loud. Y'all have a good night or a good day or whenever you see this thing.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night and God bless.